Good day, my fellow Thomas fans, and today I would like to bring up a rather interesting topic. Thomas horror fan films. I've seen various films of this genre on YouTube, and they're all very hit and miss. Let's go through a few. Shed 17. It's really freaking weird, and I don't know whether I like it or not. Yeah. Also, I should note at the time of recording, the sequel is coming out. I'll maybe do a video on that in the future. The Ghost Train movies. Though I do really enjoy them, as I have a very nostalgic connection to them, all they really are is just a ghost engine spooking the engines one at a time before it's eventually defeated. And they just get a bit dull. And now for today's movies. And just so you know, I will probably be doing a video on each of those movies I've mentioned just before, but we'll get to that. But as I was saying, today I'll be reviewing T1E2H3’s, Night Express to Vickstown, and Revenge of the Ghost Train. To give some background for these films, they are non-canon spin-offs of T1E2H3's series, The Engines of Sodor. They also serve as a sort of sequel to the other series by T1E2H3. You know, that's taking forever to say, I'm just going to say H3. They serve as a sort of sequel to the other series by H3, NWR Origins, specifically Disgrace of the LNER. Also, if you haven't watched either of these series, I highly suggest you go and watch them now. They are worth it. But long story short, Alfred dies in said episode, and these movies are about him trying to enact his revenge on Henry and Gordon, whom he is responsible for his death as a ghost. But enough backstory. This is Night Express to Vickstown and Revenge of the Ghost Train. So, this jaunty romp begins with who I guess are the main protagonists of this duology, Gordon and Henry, waking up in a field with no idea how they got there, and straight away we know we're in for a mystery story. That helped in the fact that Fatty says,
"No one seems to remember it,"
when Gordon asks what happened the previous night. Just before we go on, one thing I'd like to mention is that I love that H3 uses a lot of music from various films like Harry Potter and The Hobbit in his videos. I really enjoy that. It makes the project feel so much more grand scale than just a fan film on the internet. So, after the title pops up, we see a segment of the news. This gave me a pretty good laugh. I mean, look, the paleontologist is a news anchor. That's hilarious. So, Gordon and Henry are taken to the works while Topham and a chap called, well, Chap, played by KaneFan701, talk to the engines about their clawing situation. Personally, I think the Steam team in H3's videos are perfectly cast. I wouldn't say his videos have the definitive fan film Steam team cast, but each person is absolutely fantastic as their individual character. The cast being H3 as Henry, Gordon and Percy, who is later voiced by Christopher Bouchard, I think I'm pronouncing that right in the sequel, Jacob Raker123 as Thomas, Andrew Homer as James, and Enterprising Engine 93 as Edward. So, after some investigating from Chap, Gordon regains some memories from the previous night. These bits are some of my favourite in the entire film, even the whole duology really. It starts off pretty normal, and then it slowly builds up the suspense as the journey goes on. I love it so much. So, basically, Gordon takes out the express, and is stopped just past Wellsworth by a massive hole in the ground. After hearing a crash behind them, they reverse, only to find a fallen tree across the line. Now, this is where things get really good. Henry is tasked with bringing the breakdown train to rescue Gordon. When he arrives, fog rolls in. And if you hadn't seen this film before, like I did a few years ago, and knew nothing about the ending, you would think this was just, natural occurrences. But trust me, they aren't. Thanks to Gordon remembering a video camera the guard carries with him, the investigators are able to find footage from that night. We get to see the footage, and shit happens. Evil laughter is heard, and our hero seems to recognise the voice.
Oh my god. Wait, why does that laugh ring a bell? Oh lord. Oh shit! What? What is it, Gordon?
Many poos shot from my eye while editing this bit. I'll give my full opinions of the film come the end of the review. So, Revenge of the Ghost Train begins with Topham being faced with several reporters, telling them about the contents of the tape. After coming to the shocking realisation that ghosts were about,
positively shocking,
we get the title. The rest of the film sort of plays out like a documentary, with cutaways to things happening in real time. We see interviews, we see newspapers, we see the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise. Everything is intercut between these professional interviews to engines worrying to attempts to spot Alfred, which end with the film as presumably being killed by the ghost. I really love the three different forms of media being shown at the same time here. It's all very well done. It's around this point that Topham meets with a man called Nathan Rogman,
An Irish man who's Irish.
who tells Topham about the ghost of Godred and how they got rid of him. In all honesty, Rogman is a bit bland, but there's something that I really like about him that makes him a little bit more than that for me. This something is that he really reminds me of one of my favourite film characters, Quint from Jaws. He's a somewhat grisly old man who our leading human comes for his expertise for dealing with the antagonist. Because he reminded me of Quint, I kept thinking he would be killed off in the final act, and part of me wishes he kind of was. Later that night, in a fantastic scene, Henry has an encounter with the ghostest with the mostest, Alfred, and he is a force to be reckoned with.
You're a ghost! You can't do anything!
Oh, really? Have you forgotten our little reunion?
Oh my god!
A moment of silence for the dead signalman. Anyway, Rogman and Topham meet with Rusty's driver, Hornsby, who knows the whereabouts of a magic kettle that they can use to capture Alfred. There's a nice little gag with the kettle changing the weather, which leads to a nice line from Rusty.
I think that new fuel might not be a good fit for me.
Henry and Gordon have been fixed at this point, and they take a few jabs at Craven, a private engine that they don't like, who was also in NWR Origins. Rogman and Topham then inform them of the plan to capture Alfred.
So we left around midnight for Wellsworth. It was one of the most hair-raising journeys I've ever taken. Just before we arrived at Wellsworth, we knew he was there.
They knew he was there? What sophisticated tell did they have? Was there a cloud of steam floating in front of them? A lone whistle blowing on the night air? Or did they... No, he just said their names. Disappointed. So what follows is an epic battle between Henry and Gordon and Alfred. Topham and Henry attempt to capture Alfred with the kettle, but their attempts fail, as Henry is thrown off the frickin' tracks in epic fashion. Soon, both engines are immobilised, and you know what? Craven rocks up. I should mention, Craven is an ex-lackey of Alfred's in NWR Origins, and the two have a standoff. Craven manages to distract Alfred long enough for Topham to charge at him and trap him in the kettle.
Go back to hell, you son of a bitch! Bloody hell. I've forgotten why I don't run. Oh, me legs are aching.
Now that is how you do a climax. Take notes. So, we get our ending coda. Henry and Gordon live in peace. Topham wraps up the interview, giving a good gag that Rogman's now a bit mental and searching for the magic railroad. And Hornsby returns the kettle to Santa Claus. I mean, the wizard from who it once came.
I believe this belongs to you.
So, that was Thomas 1 Edward 2 Henry 3's Ghost Train Duology. And what can I say? I love them. They really are the best Thomas horror movies made by a member of the fandom. And to all you Shed 17 fans...
Jog on.
There's just so much good in these films. Seriously, go and watch them. If I had to pick a favourite, I'd probably pick Revenge of the Ghost Train. It has a longer runtime and is overall more enjoyable. I'd give Night Express to Vicarstown a solid 8 out of 10 and Revenge of the Ghost Train 9 out of 10. But seriously, these are great. I really love them both. In fact, just go watch all of T1E2H3’s stuff. It's all really fantastic. He has two wonderful series in The Engines of Sodor, which is in the middle of its 5th season, and NWR Origins, which is coming back for its 2nd season next year, so expect to see a video on the 1st season coming out around then. All of his films are great as well. Maybe not Haunted Henry though, that was just meh. But I digress. This guy does so much good and deserves all the praise he gets. So, now those are put to bed. Join me again next time as I review another fandom film.